All right, so today what I want to talk about is the impact when you have thyroid hormone deficiency. So there's a lot of different things that it can affect. It can affect your brain, your GI system, uh, your bone, muscle, metabolism, vascular system, and most importantly, I think, is your immune system. So here's what can happen so it does these peripheral uh, areas that if you don't have enough hormone, it's going to cause you some issues. So let's start with the brain first. So it can impact your impaired blood-brain barrier. So you have a barrier called your blood-brain barrier. If you don't have enough thyroid, you need that for a good blood-brain barrier protective, so you don't get these bad things that are going up in your brain. All right. It can also create microglia inflammation, and that's where you're going to get like brain fog and get things turned on. And sometimes that can be really hard to dampen that. So we have to do some hardcore nutritional therapies and fix that blood-brain barrier. Also, it can affect your neurotransmitters, synaptic dysregulation. So a lot of different neurotransmitters from the gut being produced. That can affect even with like certain medications. Sometimes if you have low thyroid meds, they may not be, or low thyroid hormone, they may not be as effective. The neuronal branching can get, just the neurons talk to each other, it just won't work as good. Just a lot of different things that can affect the brain. So the next one would be the GI area. So we're talking decrease of thyroid hormone can cause GI issues like impaired intestinal motility. You just don't go to the bathroom like you should. And those we'll see with the constant constipation is very common that we'll see. We'll see impaired gallbladder contraction and get that sludge and the formation of stones sometimes. So sometimes people with thyroid issues, all these gals that come with gallbladder issues, boom, 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 first thing, look, man, are you on thyroid medication? Do you have Hashimoto's? Do you have, what's going on? We always like to look at the thyroid to see if that could be causing a sluggish gallbladder and sluggish gut motility. It also can affect impair your digestive enzyme production and the release of those enzymes also, so you can break your food proteins down. For the bone, what it can do is it decreases your osteoblastic or building up bone, so you don't get osteoporosis. And it will also increase your osteoclastic, or it speeds up the breakdown of bone. So osteoporosis is a common thing that we'll see if you're not having enough thyroid hormone in your peripheral areas. Muscles, very common. We'll see with a lot of athletes who are on medication, but just don't have that energy. They don't have the proper mitochondrial ATP, muscle contraction. They just can't build their muscle because their anabolic response isn't as good either. So it can affect your muscles. Metabolism is a huge one too, for blood sugar dysregulation. It can affect the pituitary feedback loop, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal loop. It affects that. It can also decreases your thermal regulation. So you just can't, just like I'm always cold sensitive, hands are cold, feet are cold. You're intolerant to the winter months. Like me, I hate winter. I mean, I like to ski, but I don't like the cold. The vascular system, this is a very important one too. If you have decreased thyroid hormone, it will decrease your endothelial, the little lining, the very thin lining part of the vascular areas, and that will decrease the nitric oxide activity. So basically what that means is you're gonna lose your protection, the vascular protection. That's really important, so you don't develop some type of stroking out, or some type of vascular issue, blood vessel issue. So again, it can affect vascular system, and then also your immune system. So you'll have decreased antioxidant production. The T cell dysfunction will occur, so you're not going to be able to, the immune system is not going to be able to rise to the occasion, modulate an immune response. And sometimes we'll see then is an exaggerated immune response. So we'll see thyroid hormone dysfunction can cause more autoimmune issues. So that's a little bit about some of the impact of the thyroid hormone deficiency. When you're deficient on it, it can affect all these different peripheral areas of your body, from the brain to the GI to the bone, the metabolism, vascular system, and also your immune system.